Hello explorers and welcome to another video. Today we are going to talk about Ceph. And this is going to be a mini series where I go through all the way from having nothing installed on your Debian system to having a full Ceph cluster, and also what different use cases you can have for a Ceph cluster. So here you see that I have two machines, or I have logged into the same machine, but I'm gonna use multiple windows because it's gonna be easier when we are going to install multiple machines later on. So let's start off by the easiest thing. We need to get the control plane up for a Ceph cluster. We need some monitors that can actually say that this data is located on these servers. So it needs to know where is everything located in your network. It doesn't really send any data through, it just manages where is all the servers located, where can you find the other servers. So let's go in here and start SSHing to my node 1. And on my node 1, I'm gonna be root to begin with. You can run all these commands with the sudo, but it's easier just to be root. So first off, I'm gonna check so I have the latest release of everything on my system. So just do a quick upgrade and see that I don't have any missing packages. And then I need to add the key for my Ceph cluster. So on the download ceph.com keys release, there is the release key for your Ceph, and I will add that to my apt repository, so I have the keys to download everything. Then I want to create in my etc apt sources list D there, I want to create a Ceph list, and this is just to tell the Debian system that there is more Debian packages located on this location. And in this case we continue with the download ceph.com. We have the Debian Pacific version, so the latest Ceph version Pacific, and we need the Buster packages because I'm running Buster on this Debian, and the main packages. So let's push that into that file, and then we do an update again. That means that we will read these repositories, we have the packages readily available. I will install Ceph and Ceph Common, so I have the full Ceph system. This will take a little bit, so I will come back to you when that is done. Yes, now the Node 1 installation is done. You can also see that I'm currently running the same installation on Node 2 as well. So I will have that available later on when we are going to work with the second node. Next up, I will add the Buster backports to my main source list. And this is to being able to install packages from Bullseye, which I also want to do. And the packages that I want to install from Bullseye is the SmartMon tools. And the SmartMon tools is something that can check the smart data of your hard drives and report back if you have any problems with your disk drives. So installing those is really good, so you can have your system sending data back and keeping track on your hard drive. As this is a virtual machine, I can't really check the smart data of the drives because they are not physical drives, but I will install it anyway just to make a complete picture here. So this is what you want to do on physical drives. And now I want to do a reboot, but on this first machine here I will actually shut it down because I need to add an extra disk to that one. On the other hand, number 2 that we have here should be just fine to restart because the hardware setup on that machine is already up and running. And we are back, so now that we have restarted our machine, we will go into our Ceph configuration here. And this is located in etc ceph.conf. And this file we will add the global configuration. we will give it an FSID, which is the cluster ID for the specific system. And we want some initial node members, and all these needs to be available in order for the network to start up. And in this first case here, I just want one node, so I will remove the other two. We will eventually set up a 3-node network. And the reason we want an odd number of nodes is that sometimes the manager nodes or monitor nodes needs to have a decision about something in the network, and then you can't have one wanting one thing and another wanting one thing. So you usually get two that want something and another that might have another thing that it thinks is the right, which means that you never have this problem of a split brain. Then we need to set up a public network, and you also want a cluster network. So in this case, my cluster network is 10.0.2.0, and so that's the plane where all the different servers are talking, and then you have a public network where we can reach and all the client can reach. And the reason you want both a public and a cluster network is that you don't want the repair traffic or other more maintenance traffic to be on the public network, because then the clients might get interrupted. So if you can split those up in different networks, use double NICs on your servers so you can route the traffic to different backbone networks if you can. And then we set up some authentication for cluster service and client. So that's our configuration. Next up, we want to create some keys. So I will first off create this using the Ceph auth tool, create a key ring called monkey, which is the monitor key. And in that I will generate a new key that I call mon.dot. So that's the general monitor key. And I will give it a capability, allow everything on the mon type. Next up, I want to create a client admin key. So this is the Ceph tool, admin tool again, create a new key ring, and I will put that in etc Ceph client admin key ring. And this, I will generate that key with the name of client admin. And client admin is the administrator for the whole network, and client is the type of key. So if you want to create a new key for a specific other client, somebody that wants to connect, then that's a client key. You can OSD keys, monitor keys, manager keys, and so on, but this is a specific type of client key. And then we give it the capability for monitor allow everything, OSDs allow everything, MSDs allow everything, and managers allow everything. And next up, we want to create a bootstrap keys to create our drives later on. And this is the OSD bootstrap keyring, and it has the capability in the monitor to profile and with the profile of bootstrap and new OSD. You see that this is a client bootstrap OSD, so it will only be used to set up new OSDs and don't really have any capabilities other than that. Then we want to import both of these newly created keys into our monkey, so we have all keys in one file. And if I do sudo cat temp monkey, we can see here that we have these 3 keys with the specific capabilities specified in this key, monkey. We will give that the user and group of Ceph, so it's available by the Ceph cluster. Next up, we want to create a monitor map, and this is used by the monitor map tool. And a monitor map is used for the monitors to know which other monitors are available in the cluster. So here I say that I want to add node 1 in this newly created one with this IP and this specific FSID for my cluster, and then I create a mon map file there. So we see that we have one monitor in our mon map file. We can add the monitor 2 node 2 and node 3 into this map as well. You see that I just run add here and not the create command. So now we have a monitor map with 3 nodes in it, and then we want to create a monitor. So first off, we will create a directory called mon ceph node 1. We will do that with the Ceph user, so we will have the right permissions. Next up, we'll create the monitor file system here. So monitor, Ceph monitor is the tool. Make file system using the Ceph user. The identifier here is node 1. Then we will do a monitor map. We'll use that, and we will use the monkey keyring. So that will create the file system for that monitor. Next up, we can start the monitor. So that's just a service, and that will come up and running. If we check with ps aux and grep for Ceph, we can see that we have the Ceph monitor running with the specific cluster Ceph, ID N1, and the user Ceph and group Ceph. And we can also tailor the log file, and that's available in var log, Ceph, mon, the identifier log. Let's see here. Oh, we need to tail it, of course. We need a command. So here we can see that it's currently running and setting new cache sizes. And if we run ceph-s, and we are back again, and I did some troubleshooting, so now I can actually do ceph-s and get a result back that the system is not healthy. It will allow ID reclaim. We have a monitor that hasn't MSRG2 enabled, and so on. But we have one node up. If we want, we can run this command ceph mon enable MSGR2, which means that we will enable that feature, and running the status again, we will not see that message again in the future. What I needed to do is change my Ceph config file. The config file is used to connect to the network. So here we have still the initial members node 1 here. You can have node 2 and node 3. But the thing I changed here was just to have the IP addresses for hosts, because the other information about which port it should use for version 2 and version 1 is not really needed. It's something that it's built in, so it should figure that one out. Anyway, so now we have it set up for all the new nodes as well. So let's continue here installing the dashboard. The dashboard is great to have in order to see what's happening in your cluster. So I will first off create a new authentication key here. So we use ceph auth, and auth is a really good command if you want to create your own key for a new file system or something like that, and you can use the same here. Get or create the specific key, the manager, and we use the same identifier here, so node 1. Monitor should allow the profile for a manager. OSD, it should be allowed to do whatever it like with that. MSD, same, allow everything. So that will create this manager key. Then we need to create a directory for the manager. It's very similar than the other one. The only thing is that we have the manager instead of mon directory here. So we create a new directory using the Ceph user, and then we will edit this keyring, and we want to put this key material into that keyring. So we edit it here, paste it in, and save that. And now we should be able to just start the manager. And we can do the same here and grep to see that we actually have 2 processes running. Now we should have the manager running as well. And then we need the dashboard, because the dashboard is not enabled by default here. So I will enable the module dashboard. There is a lot of different modules within Ceph that you can enable and run. but all of those can be enabled from the dashboard, so the dashboard is a good thing to have. Then I want to have a self-signed certificate here, so I will put that in, and that makes it easier to work with this. If you have your own certificate for your network, then you can use it here, of course. But I do it easy for myself, so if you want to create a test cluster at home, create the self-signed certificate. And then I want to create the admin user administrator. So here I need to create a password file because we want the password to be available, but we still want to have a password file. And this needs to be a little bit complicated, this password. So let me generate a new password here. Paste in a password here. So this will be the password for my administrator. You can have whatever password you want, but it needs to be a little bit complex. And then I want to create it here, and this is the password file here. So we have Ceph, dashboard, account, create user, admin, input file for the password, and then what role should it have? It should be an administrator. So there we go. We have a new password and a new administrator created. Let's cat my password file here so I have the password myself. And then I will switch over here to our browser. So this should be, so here we have this connection. It's not private. And I have the address 44 here. So we see that we have a login at my IP 8443, and then you will get the login screen. I will log in as admin, and I didn't have the password copied, so let's try that again. Paste as plain text. There we go. So now we have a dashboard. So this is not really a good cluster because we only have one manager and one monitor. We have no file system, we have no capability, no objects, no pages, nothing in this cluster at all. But we have the first working thing that we can monitor and see. So we can see that we have an issue here with this global ID reclaim, and we can also see that we have fewer than 3 OSDs, which is the default size for a cluster. The default configuration that a cluster comes with is that you want to have 3 copies of all the data you use, which I think is a reasonable configuration. You can create pools with a crush rule that is more of parity with 1 or 2 drives and so on. But I think this with 3 copies is really good if you want to keep your data safe. We see that we have no pools and so on. We can go in here and configure our cluster and remove one of these global reclaim issues that we had. Allow insecure. Just change the global here to false. Update. And as we use the latest version, that is okay to do. So now we only have one issue, that we don't have any hard drives, and we only have one monitor. So that's an issue. So now I want to add more monitors, of course, and more managers. We have a cluster that can actually add some data to later on. So let's switch back to my screens here, and I have already prepared more hosts here. So I will log into N1 down here, and then I will log into N2, which is the next node in the series here. And I have prepared this one with all the packages. So we have the SmartMon tools installed, and the Ceph things are also installed. But other than that, we don't have anything. So we need the configuration, of course. So let's edit our Ceph conf file. And that file should be the same on all hosts. So let's go up here and copy in the global configuration here. So we have the same configuration on all the hosts. And then we will copy over the admin keyring that we have on number 1 here. And so let's cat the etc Ceph client admin keyring. Allow that. So I will take that admin keyring and Ceph client admin keyring and paste it in here. You could get it from the cluster as well. Now that we had the admin key, we can get it, but without the admin key, we can't really fetch anything from the network because we don't really have the authority. We also need to add this bootstrap OSD key that we will need later on. So I will cat that from the old server and put in here too. So we have it later on. And we also want to copy the mon map and mon key. So I will copy the mon map because that is something that I can copy from the old host, I believe. Let's do like that. Yes. That I can copy over, but the key I'm not allowed to copy. So let's cat monkey over here. Monkey. And let's copy that file over. That, and then we want to create the directory for the Ceph node here, and I think we also want this key file to be owned by Ceph, of course. And now that we have this monitor Ceph2 node, we can create a new file system here. Same as we did before with node 2 instead, and use the mon map and mon key. So that will create this file system. Then we can start node number 2 here, and we should be able to see in our GUI here that there is another node here available already. And if we go back, we should be able to do sudo ceph-s. Takes a little while, and then we get the notice of how the cluster is. We can set this into enable the second messenger protocol here as well. We do the same kind of operations that we did earlier in order to enable our manager on this node as well. I forgot to copy the actual key here. So this should be nothing different here. Create a new key for that manager, and we will start it. So now we have the second node available. Now let's do the same for the third node. So go into the third node. We should be able to do the monkey first. Monkey. Sudo monkey. And a password. Put that over there. Like that. And do sudo y etc ceph client admin keyring, because we have it down here as well. because the monkey actually had all these keys available, if you remember. So we could use that to copy all of these different key material to the different places that we want. Let's see what happened here. I want to copy this one, keyring, like that. And then I want the bootstrap key down here, like that. So now we have copied the admin key, the bootstrap key, the monkey. We want to have the monitor map as well. Let's do the IP here. Have the wrong IP set for node 1. No worries. And here we want the configuration as well. So let's copy that one. So it should be exactly the same. I just do it in a different order here in order to get all the keys copied over. And then we will create node number 3 here. Yeah, I forgot again. The monkey should have the Ceph. Yeah, the Ceph username and password. So we created the the monitor directory for node 3. We will use the mon key again. We will start our monitor. We should be able to run the status. There we go, and we can see now that we have 3 monitors. 1 monitor is down, but it should soon be up. We can set the messenger protocol for this monitor here as well. We will continue to create the manager with the same key material, new key material. So copy that over, copy the key material like that, and start the manager. So there we go. If we go over to our little dashboard again, we can now see that we have 3 different hosts. We have 3 monitors running and available. We have 1 manager active and 1 manager standby. There should be a 3rd one incoming soon. Let's see if it will be available soon here. Load this. Yeah, so now we see that we have 2 and 1. So now we have a good cluster with failover. So we have 3 monitors that could keep track on where all our data is available in the system. We have 3 managers, so we can log in from 3 different places if that is required. So if one manager goes down, we can log into another one. And the important part is to have 3 different machines that runs monitors, and they can run managers as well, but it needs to be 3 separate machines, because if one of them fails, you should still have availability on your network. Or if you want to upgrade one machine, install new OS system services on it, then you want to take that out of service and then bring it back again. And when you do that, that machine with all the services on it will be down. So having at least 3 of these services is a good practice. You can have up to 5 monitors if you like, and that's needed for very large clusters, but 3 is good for smaller clusters. And managers, you can have how many you want, because those are just this kind of dashboard and other running services. So it's a node application that runs statistics, it can handle rebalancing your network and so on. So it does a lot of different services, but it's not crucial for your day-to-day work. You need to have it in order to have a good cluster, but you can take down all your managers and still have a running cluster. So this was what I wanted to cover today. I hope that you found this interesting. I hope that you learned something today. So the next video we're gonna set up a different storage devices and talk about the Rados plane. So that is the low level plane where everything is saved in your network. So we're gonna talk about that in the next video. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave them down in the comment section down below. And I really hope to see you in the next video.